to talk about the Clubhouse Horror Anthology script competition that you and I both entered.
Yes, we did indeed enter that.
Something a little different for us. You do have a background in stage and theater.
Correct. Yep, I have.
I
I've directed musicals and theater productions for almost a decade now, since I was very young up until very recently. So
Yeah, you and I both have little to no experience with writing stories. When we were younger, we like to make little you know ideas and concepts, and we always had cool ideas for stuff that kind of never came to fruition. We did make a short film for one of my classes in college that was a cool concept. Execution could have been a little better,
yeah,
but nonetheless, we've always been kind of intrigued by writing.
yeah, writing and making stuff, and I mean, we have our channel, and we have skits on our channel, and we've done other stuff for our channel that maybe isn't quote unquote film, but it's
Mhm.
expressive, it's creative, So
Yeah,
we've always done it. We've always dabbled in it. We've always been interested in it, and we've always wanted to do something larger, I think, with that.
yeah, absolutely. So when the initiative came, for those that don't know what Clubhouse is, it's an app where you basically join a room and talk to a bunch of people on your mic. So it's kind of like video chat. It's kind of like just regular chatting, like phone call chatting. There's no video; it's all voice. But there's a lot of cool rooms on there and a lot of cool spaces where you can talk about different topics. And the creator of, or the is he the he's the director or the
The writer.
he's the writer of Host, which is now apparently the scariest film of all time. Uh, he actually was one of the hosts of this Clubhouse Horror Anthology project. And Josh, you found it through his Twitter and you presented it to me. So you and I both wrote scripts for this competition.
We did.
We didn't win. We didn't even get into the quarterfinals. But I just want to talk about it. It took a lot out of us. I made one script with your help. You made two, right?
Yeah, but I only submitted one because the rules were that even if you were, co with somebody else on something, you could only submit two. So
Gotcha.
I only submitted mine and yours.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to just briefly talk about that whole process because it's different. I was out of my element for
Hmm.
sure. It was something that I'm not used to getting my ideas down on paper. But I think we made some really cool stuff. So why don't you
Yeah.
kind of give a brief synopsis of your story that you came up with?
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, before I do that, I I'm not mad or upset that we didn't get in. That's not what this topic is about. I don't think. It sucks because of how much effort we put into it, but it is what it is. Shit happens. There's plenty of other creative people out there. But this is a realm that we've been in for a long time, as we mentioned. And I haven't written screenplays before, but I've written treatments for shows I've directed. Altering scripts and things like that to fit certain things. If you have the licenses and stuff for that, but this was definitely out of our comfort zone. But when I wrote it, the first draft of that script is completely different than what the final one was.
Yeah.
Like vastly different. So for the one that I submitted, ended up being called Dinner with Domovik, which is about a Ukrainian folktale about this basically a member of your family who is passed and is tied to the house that you live in with your family. And if you treat your family poorly, then this thing comes out and is supposed to haunt you. And in my version of the script, it kills your family members that are arguing. Um, and basically, it has three characters in it. It has a son, a daughter, and a mom. There is some tension between the mom and the son, which is displayed in the script and causes kind of this argument and this tension to happen. They have dinner. The argument breaks out over dinner because the son doesn't want to sit and have dinner with the family, among other reasons. And then basically the daughter notices this thing looming, which is the creature, the Domovic. And then when the daughter realizes it and notices it, she tries to warn her family members, but it's too late. and basically this thing kills her family members, and she watches it, and then that's it. So
Yeah. No, it definitely did change a lot from the initial draft to what you finally submitted. It's almost like you had it and you were really proud of it, and then you kind of sat on it for a little bit, and then like the day before it was due, you were like, "Yeah, it's completely different, and it's better." And I was like, "Holy shit!" You kind of went into like this mode where I've never seen you do that before, so like it was really interesting to see like how you turned it into what it was, into what the final product was. So
yeah,
um,
it was
yeah, and I
fun.
really liked it. I
It
really
was
liked
fun.
that story a lot. So
Yeah, and it, it's the good thing is that I mean, I don't know how many actual drafts there was, but there was at least over 20 drafts of that script. Like there was, I rewrote it, not fully, but edited it several times. And it got me writing other things. So I have written several other scripts since then, and have had a lot of ideas. And I used to, but now I am again, like writing my ideas down as we have them. And I would really like to make, I mean, a lot of these things that we have discussed and talked about, and ideas that we have had together for, I mean, years, decades, over a
yeah,
decade. Like we have these stories that we want to tell. We were hoping that this was going to be a path to it, and maybe it is, in the sense that, okay, we get some experience writing, we gave feedback, we went back and forth with each other, we got feedback from industry people, we've looked at some stuff. Let's write something now, and let's just go shoot it and do it ourselves. So
yeah, absolutely. That's the thing is like, am I disappointed we didn't win? Yeah, I'm pretty bummed that we didn't win. I'm pretty bummed that you didn't win specifically, because I know you worked really hard on yours and my script. But if we didn't try, we wouldn't have known what we could do. We wouldn't have known what's possible. I learned a lot from reading what you did with your script and what you did with my script, and um, it's possible now. It's something that we could do. So yeah, I definitely think it lit a fire, and it takes a listen. This isn't easy. It's not easy, and even if you have the idea, the premise of what you want to do, it isn't easy to write it out as a script for, or a screenplay for a motion picture or whatever.
yeah, and these
Uh,
are shorts. We're talking about like less than 10 pages.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so
I had an idea, and I wrote the idea down, and I was sitting there with Josh, and it was kind of like, so yeah, here's my idea, and Josh was like, well, then what happens next? And I'm like, I don't know what happens next. And we really had to mull it over and talk about it, and talk about, what happens to this character, and even had to create moments and scenes that were never even in my original idea, just to, bring the anticipation forward, bring the story forward.
yeah,
Um,
and
so
I think your script is probably a better example of how to set up a horror punchline.
mm,
So why don't let's talk about your script for a little bit, right? Because
yeah,
one of the things that we talked about, right, was that horror is like comedy, right, where you are setting up a punchline basically. Now it's very different what the end goal is, for horror versus comedy, but I think your script displays that perfectly, and you had a really awesome, fantastic idea that we then had to talk about and develop moments, and you had to figure out, okay, what are some beats to lead up to this reveal and this idea, and how do we convey that very quickly in a very short amount of time.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that after we were even complete with, well, not complete, but after we finished that final version of the script, I like read it to my fiance, and her thing was like, it wasn't really scary. And I'm like, well, it all leads up to the one thing, and that is the thing that is scary.
Right.
And it's a very visual thing. So it's hard to convey that. But also, I didn't want the whole thing to be scary, really. I wanted it to be, you know, I wanted you to be like, what is happening here? I wanted you to question it. And then I wanted that final reveal at the end to be so impactful, because it's literally the only thing that really does happen, you
But
know?
that's more interesting than something that would be constantly jump scares. First of all,
Yeah, exactly.
neither of us had to write jump scares. I don't know how to write them, and I don't want to write them. Um, Second of all, the horror, right, is the reveal of the thing that is unknown. But
Exactly.
even in your case, when it is revealed, it's still unknown, which is like,
Hmm.
what the fuck? And that is what is scary about it,
Yeah.
not so much like the in your face roar stuff, whatever.
Yeah. Basic synopsis for mine is, so basically I had a dream one night, and it's really cliche to say that, but like a lot of my ideas for horror films come from like nightmares or dreams that I have. And I will take that and morph it into something that makes a little more sense. As you know, dreams are kind of out there and all over the place.
Right.
So basically the idea that I ended up with in the end after my dream and thinking about it is there's this guy, and he's walking down the street, and there's puddles, or I'm sorry, droplets that keep falling from the sky. And he's walking, and they keep coming down more and more and more and more as he's walking. And eventually he realizes that the droplets are only landing on his path where he's walking. So when he looks to the left and right, there's no droplets. It's only like his path that he's walking on. And at the end, he looks up into the sky, and there is a unimaginable being from another world looking up at him, salivating, looking down on him, salivating. And it's actually it's saliva that is dripping. It's not rain. It's not hail. It's snow. It's saliva. And this thing presumably eats him. Right. That was the original idea.
Right.
We morphed it and changed it. It starts off in his bedroom. We gave him like a streamer persona, like us, but he's like a real douchebag streamer
Mm-hmm.
that likes to play video games. And he gets a viewer. He plays all night without a single viewer, and then all of a sudden you see his little view count go up by 1. He becomes obsessed. He goes to school. He goes on the bus. He goes to school. He is just streaming his whole day because he's obsessed with this one viewer. And all throughout the day, you'll see these drops that land on the window, on the bleachers where he's sitting. And he doesn't understand what that means. He's not even noticing those drips, right? He is only focusing on this one viewer that is watching his content. And at the end, he's walking home from school, and the rain is pouring on him at this point. And he's still just focusing on his phone. And finally, he gets a little chat message from his stream chat, and it's like a little emoji that tells him to like look up. So he looks up, and that's when he sees this creature. And the one viewer was actually this creature the whole time. So yeah, that's what we came up with for it, and I was really proud of it. I couldn't have done it without your help. Obviously, you took just ideas and beats and turned it into a script, which now that I know how you do that, I can kind of do that moving forward, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was really proud of both of the scripts that we came up with.
Me too. And I think I guess summarizing it, right? It was a great opportunity. It was something good that got us thinking and actually writing, which we've talked about for such a long time, but haven't really, for one reason or another or whatever. And, you know, our creative outlet is this channel a lot, even though it's very different realm, like it is. And I treat it as that, and I experiment with things, and like I know how to edit and use Photoshop and like all these other things that I wouldn't have known how to do if I didn't do this channel. And a big part of that for me is the editing, right? It's like I love editing. And the only reason I can edit is because we did so much shit. Like really just garbage is on our channel. Like from the past. Look at where it is now compared to it. But even compared to that, I think what it showed me was that you and I are a very, very good writing team. Our brains work very differently. Mine, I will get really tied up in the very, very tiny, small details.
That's right.
You are great at big picture stuff and beats. And the fact that we were able to succinctly work together very quickly, I mean, we had a deadline, so we had to kind of move quick, but where you had ideas, I could articulate those ideas very specifically, and then we could kind of parse that down. I think it showed me that we are very good at writing together, which we have done and we haven't done. If that makes sense in our life.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately that's what I want to take away from it, and I want to change it into something else. And I would love to make these scripts or other scripts. Some are easier than others. We have other ideas that we have talked about for years that I know we would love to do. We have things that we've done in the past that I know we want to redo.
Yes.
So I would hopefully, we get around to that, and we'll do something, and it'll go somewhere, and this will be the catalyst for it.
Absolutely. So thank you again, because I wouldn't have been able to do it without you. So
thank you. We did it. I wouldn't have known about it if you didn't find out about Host, if you didn't follow Jed Shepard and interact with him on Twitter. And so,
Yeah, Kevin Hall in chat says, damn, they both sound really good, guys. Thank you, dude. Appreciate that. We'll have to send you a copy of both of the scripts so you can actually get the full experience of both of them.
Copyright 2021 Haptic Productions.
Yeah, coming soon.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Josh and Brett really need you too. I love them. So do it. It would be a shame if you miss more of their videos. Hit the notification bell too, so you know when there is a new upload.